think there are certain moments in everyone's life that they regret, or decisions they made or we made that we regret. And as you get older, there might be like certain things in life that remind you of those decisions. For example, one for me is playing football in high school, and I use the word playing rather loosely. At the time, I was more interested in just participating and saying I was on the team than putting in the work to play on the team or have that competitive fire and drive, determination, the things that make someone a player or a starter versus someone who rides the bench. And I think there's certain things in life that haunt you or remind you that not to take things in a half-assed manner. And one of those things, because of that, is running around a high school track. So there's a high school track nearby that I'll run around about 3 times a week, usually early in the mornings. And there's no music, there's no one else up. Most of the time there's nobody even on the road, and it's silence, and it's just you and your thoughts, and it gives you a chance to reflect on how much different, or what would be different if I tried, if I put in the time, if I put in the effort, if I didn't not really lift weights because I was embarrassed about what my lifts were relative to everybody else. What could have been? Could I have played? Could I have maybe gotten a scholarship? Could I have played in college? Could I have ultimately, the two big dreams at that time were obviously to play NFL professionally. Now, whether at the time, if you looked at stats on a sheet in terms of like size, if that was realistic or not, is irrelevant. That was still the goal and the dream, but there was no work behind that at all. And that's a painful memory and a painful lesson, and I think we all have things that we wish we could go back and change and do differently, and otherwise we would never advance. We would constantly be going back in time trying to fix things or redo things that we messed up or made mistakes on, or with almost 10 years of hindsight regret. But that's not the case. And so what we have to do is we have to take those lessons and apply them to the opportunities that we have in front of us. And so, for example, as I mainly focus more towards business, and athletics is just more of an outlet for stress, stay healthy, look good, and it's not really about trying to compete for a title or something like that. Taking that lesson of high school football, of like, hey, you can live with the regret of not knowing what could have been because you didn't put in the effort. And and 10 years later, no one's probably even talking about what you did or didn't lift, or it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Even if you were the strongest kid at that time, putting up the biggest numbers, and your name was at the top of the chart, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's 10 years later. No one's giving you money. No one's giving you a promotion. No one's giving you anything because of what you did 10 years ago. They're giving you something because of what you did today. And so it's taking that lesson of high school football and like, all right, well, this is the opportunity in front of me. I know what the alternative is of not trying, of not putting in the effort, of not improving, of not working, of not believing, of not doing it. I know what that pain tastes like. Do you want to experience that again? And in this case, the answer is no, I don't. But that's ultimately a question we have to ask ourselves as new opportunities come up and we learn or use lessons from our past, perhaps as guides or perhaps as motivation for why we don't want to repeat that process.